Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Racers Driving League Season 13 for round number 15 of the Championship. Welcome to the Zandvoort circuit for what should be a very entertaining Dutch Grand Prix. I'm your host, Zach RC, welcoming you to another evening of exciting racing. The fireworks have started outside my bedroom just in front of me. I'm hoping we won't see too many fireworks in the lobby tonight. But as I say, Zandvoort, a very exciting circuit, should produce some brilliant action as it always has done since its introduction on F1 2020. First few cars coming up for qualifying now. PJ Callahan, the Haas leads them out. He's at one of the AlphaTauris. That's Dan 008 just behind him there. So those guys, the first ones out for their qualifying runs. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, it's 11 points in the advantage of Salve Blaze, who shows the way over his teammate Salve Landlord. The championship lead swung between those two throughout last week's race in Belgium, which was very, very entertaining. But as of now, it's Blaze with the advantage, 11 points clear. C110P fan back there in third place, 128 points to his name. And Shea Oliver is back this week, as well as C110P fan, sitting just 2 points behind that 100 point mark. Should he reach it tonight, he'll be only the fourth driver of the season to do so, just to show you how dominant those two Alpines have been over the course of these first 14 rounds. In terms of constructors, they're proving that domination. Alpine still with a dominant advantage over AlphaTauri. PJ Callahan then coming through for his first timed run of the evening. The DRS about to be deployed now as he makes his way down the main straight. Will take you on a lap of the Zandvoort circuit here. Charging towards that first corner to start the lap into turn number 1. Breaking the 50-meter board. Keeping the line in the middle. Trying to extend off the curbs there out of turn number 1 and 2. Make his way towards turn 4 now and into the high banked turn number 5. That long sweeping left-hander. Yellow flag further back. There was one of the Red Bulls moving over to the side there. One of the best opportunities to overtake down this sort of set straight. It's quite a curved straight there. Make his way through the right-hander now. Be very careful not to lift here, especially going side by side. But one of these should ought to lift. Otherwise, someone will have to see it in that situation. Otherwise, most likely end up both drivers taking each other out. Further through the lap now, making his way towards the second DRS zone. And more crucially, that second split at the end of the straight. Let's see what he can do here. Down this back run into the next right-hander. Coming over the split now, 49.5. That second sector. A couple more corners to go now. 2 more turns to be precise. Breaking past 15-meter ball for the penultimate turn. And that final banked right-hander. Wonderful place to go on the attack. Out the last corner and charging towards the line. The first lap of the evening set by PJ Callahan is a 1 minute 11.176. Very good time for the drivers behind to try and beat. Here comes Dan over the line. He was a second back from PJ's time through Sector 2, and it continues that way in Sector 3. 1 minute 12.059 to start things off. So not too bad at all. And Lucky Lambo going fast in the Alfa Romeo there. 1 minute 11.041. So only about 10th or so in it. So a very good start for him. Ethan goes in third in that Red Bull. 1 minute 11.3. So just a couple tenths off of those top 2 front row runners as of right now. Next car to cross the line will be Prolol in the other Alfa Romeo. 49.7 was his second sector. And his third sector requires some improvement there. 1 minute 11.6. As Shea Oliver goes fastest now. The McLaren, the first driver into the 1 minute 10s. 1 minute 10.760. But Salve Blaze, the championship leader, goes even faster by just a couple hundredths of a second. Salve Blaze now sits on pole position. It's a very exciting start to qualifying there. The times quickly dropping like flies. Yet to see Salve Landlord out onto the racetrack, so we had to give him a minute or two before he starts to make his way out. Comes JB towards the line. He's had a bit of a poor lap starting things off. It's not been too bad. 1 minute 11.5, but a second or so off of the pace of the rest of the pack. At least in terms of those top 2. Immediately showing their stuff very early on. Waiting for the next car to come through now to the line. Paris 232, 50.3 was his second sector. Riding on board with the Red Bull as it comes through that right-hander. Of course, the Red Bull, Max Verstappen, took the victory in both the Dutch Grand Prix since returning to the Zandvoort circuit. However, Red Bull haven't had that same kind of luck in the RDL so far since that return. Perhaps tonight could be the night that duck is broken and the pair come out on top. Of course, Paris and Ethan, not too bad a lineup, doing well so far this season. Ethan, 8th in the championship, 68 points to his name. Paris, 33 points, sits down there in 15th place. Landlord now on the track on his outlap. So let's keep an eye on what Landlaw can do here, because he's still got a bit of a mountain to climb in trying to get some points back from his teammate after it looked like, of course, Blaze crashed on the opening lap very early on last week in Belgium, and Landlaw looks to be in a good position to try and potentially win the race and take a dominant lead in the Drivers' Championship, only for him to fall into trouble with a few more laps to go in the race. Fell into trouble with Sniper Hunter, who isn't racing this week. So here comes Landlaw now over the line to start his first run. Decent start to the lap so far for Landlaw, 25.9. Coming to that second sector now. He's really kept his foot on the throttle here so far. It'll be that kind of approach that he needs in order to try and beat Blaze to pole position. Now, still quite a way to go in this session. 11 minutes and 20 seconds as it stands. DRS being redeployed. However, for a banger, even if it is a banker lap, it's not very good. 51.9, so that's about a second off some of the slower times we've seen so far. Off the final corner down towards the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 13 for Landlaw, the slowest time so far. He's got a bit of work to do here in order to get himself higher up the order, but he hasn't been brilliant in qualifying these last few weeks. Yellow flag down the main straight. That's like one of the McLarens out of turn number 3. That's Fergus there, still with the running the special liveried McLaren on the car. One of the Aston Martins got up the order. That's Zach Sherman, who's just gone into P9. 1 minute 11.566, so very close to JB's time. They're in 8th. PJ Khaled running off the track here, slowing up to let some of the other drivers through. Always good to see that sportsmanship. Here's Che Oliver trying to push in order to beat Blaze's time, although he's 8,000 of a second down in that second sector. However, he doesn't need too much. A good third sector here will be enough for pole position. Landlaw goes third now. So there we go. He's put himself right up there. Just less than a tenth behind his teammate in third place. Here comes Oliver off the last corner, but going off into the pits. So he's backed off in some way there. I think potentially it would have been looking like a 1 minute 11 had he finished the job. Alvar now there in 4th place. He's gone under the radar quite quickly, but he's set a very fast time there to start this session off. We're about halfway through as it stands. Lucky Lambert's still there in 5th. C110P fan now sits in 6th. They're waiting on 3 more cars to come over to come out to start their laps. Websy, who's making his way out of the pit lane now. Huggy Bear, who's been sitting in the garage the whole time, as has Cockney Goblin. However, it's been quite a usual occurrence for Cockney Goblin to stay in the pit lane during qualifying. However, no disrespect to him, as he makes it all up during the race. Always gives us quite a spectacle. Huggy Bear coming out the pits now. I'm hoping my words will spur the Ferrari driver out of the pit lane, and maybe we'll be able to see a lap from him. Yellow flag for the back. That's one of the Red Bulls. Well, no, that's one of the Alpines. Sorry, which Alpine is that? That's Landlord has gone around. And one of the Red Bulls is out of the session. That's Paris, who's I think he may have retired. I'm not sure. I may have missed that completely during that little spiel. Here's Curtis Shepard, currently sitting 16th, the slowest time so far being a 1 minute 12.4. Tonjack Wire, fireworks going off Oh, there goes Curtis Shepherd there. He's lost part of his front wing. That's a nasty impact with the barriers there. He's managed to keep the car going. Unfortunate from there. Could have been the start of something good there on a lap. But he's had to nurse that car back to the pit lane to get a fresh front wing. But yeah, someone in the chat, why are fireworks going off? That's because it is Diwali tonight. So for anyone watching, I'd like to wish a happy Diwali to anyone celebrating. But hopefully we won't see that same sort of fireworks going on in the race tonight. Zandvoort was notorious for chaos in online racing. Oliver over the line. About a minute off though. I think that was his outlap, and again that glitch is still going on where they changed it a bit earlier. Blades on a lap here is the 10th down off his best time. Both drivers on the front row currently out on the racetrack. Can Blaze improve and potentially stretch that margin between himself and Oliver in the race pole position? He's going all the way over to the right for this one. Over the line, stretched it a little bit. By about a tenth or so. 1 minute 10.6 dead. And Che Oliver a tenth and a half down. Yellow flags. That's one of the AlphaTauris there. That's Dan who's just moving over, I believe, for these cars further back. Dan's going to bring the car back into the pit lane. Courtney Godwin was still waiting for it to come out of the pits. Which, as I say, is unfortunate. We'd like to see him out on the racetrack. Huggy Bear there. Coming through Sector 1, 25.1 in his first split. Currently his teammate putting it in 8th place, 1 minute 11.176. Huggy Bear just 6 points to his name so far this season in the starts he's made. Flies one of the Williams there, 50.9 in the second sector. And now coming towards the final corner. Keeping it all the way to the right hand side, moving back over to the left of the exit. Over the line, it's been a 1 minute 13.1. It's the same sort of lap we saw Landlord set. A C110P fan, with that means he's gone second fastest. That pushes Landlord down to 4th, and he's just under half a tenth down on his second sector. However, he is improving. So here he comes now to the last couple of corners. He's only got to improve by 2 tenths or so, and that put him on pole position, but he's coming into the pits. 4 minutes to go in this session, so I think we'll probably come out for one more run potentially. The Alpine mechanics getting back up onto the jacks and bring him into the garage. Oh, Alvar got a bit of a skid there. Oh, around he goes, and that's Alvar out. The 5th place man in the Williams, all of a sudden out of qualifying. An unfortunate spin but making his lap go from bad to a lot worse. It's a good thing he's as high up the order as he is. Otherwise he'd be no doubt a lot more frustrated. There he is there on the side of the track. Stricken Williams on the right. So, the 3rd driver out of qualifying. We lost Paris 232 earlier on. We lost Toshby Pope at the very start of the session. And now Alvar, 5th will be the best he can hope for. He's out of qualifying. 3 minutes now, still to go in this qualifying session. And it's still Sunway Blaze on top, as it has been throughout qualifying. As PJ Khaled now coming out, making his way out of the pit lane and onto the racetrack for what will most likely be his final run. Let's see who else on the lap that stands. Lucky Lambert coming towards the end of his run. I reckon he'll probably get 2 more laps out of that if he wants to. Here comes now through the last turn. Oh, he's coming to the pit, so he's calling it an end to that run. I'm thinking it probably would have been around again 1 minute 11 or so. Maybe 1 minute 12. Had he finished that lap off. Che Oliver now out of the pit lane. He's got his teammate Fergus in the other McLaren right behind him. PJ Callagher back through turn 1 now. Currently P9 in the order. Zach Sherman up to P7. C110P fan out the pit lane. He's still on the front row. He's less than a tenth off of Sally Blaze's pole time. Blaze himself coming out the pit lane for his last go. 1 minute and 40 seconds left. So the majority of these drivers should be able to get round in time without issue. And quite unbelievably, we're seeing Connolly Goblin for the first time in ages in qualifying out on the racetrack. That's spectacular stuff to see. Looking forward to seeing what he can do here at Zandvoort. To my knowledge, Zandvoort was one of the tracks last season where we actually saw him out of the pit lane. So looking forward to seeing what he gets up to here in this final part of qualifying. Now, 1 minute to go. Che Oliver now over the line to start his final lap. 1 minute 10.600 to beat. And that's hoping that neither Blaze or Fan improve themselves. 45 seconds. I think we might be able to see everyone out at the racetrack. Apart from Ethan and the Red Bull, the only driver who's staying out at the moment, staying in the pit lane at the moment. This Blaze now to start his lap. Oliver was 0.08 of a second up in the first sector. He still needs about 1/10.5 in order to put the car on pole position. He's spent the season alongside C110P fan chasing those 2 Alpines, but never really getting much out of it. That top 4 has been painstakingly obvious throughout season 13. The checker flag has now fallen. Curtis Shepard will be the first person to cross the line. Goes P15. Blaze is slow, so the only chance of him improving a goal is retired from the session as a result. Che Oliver almost a quarter of a second up as he charges towards the line, and he gets pole! Lucky Lambert, 5 place grid penalty for collision with Landlord. What's happened there? He's made contact with the Alpine, and one of the Aston Martins is in trouble as well. That's Atty in trouble, but Blaze on pole position now. Fan is about 1/10 up. He might be able to put himself back on the front row. Towards the line. Not quite. Just misses out on P2. Lucky Lambert over the side. His chance to done. Prolol towards the line. He's 1/10.5 up. This could potentially put him as high as 4th. So put him 7th. JB, one of the last cars to come to the line now. Plus those 2 cars in the pit lane. Zach Sherman's on his way through. He's just bringing the car back to the garage. But Che Oliver will be our pole sitter for the Dutch Grand Prix of season 13. Brilliant lap from him there in the end. Looking forward to seeing what he can do in the race. Look how close the field was. Around 2 seconds or so separating them all. So brilliant lap there. A brilliant way to end qualifying. However, those Alpines will still be tough to beat, along with the rest of the field. Yet to break that duck for victories. Perhaps today could be his day. So here is your top 10 for qualifying for the race gets underway. So it's Che Oliver in pole position, Salway Blaze alongside him on the front row, Fan in 3rd, Landwell 4th, Alvar then 5th despite crashing out, Lucky Lambert 6th, Prolol 7th, Zach Sherman 8th, Websy 9th, and PJ Callagher will round out your top 10. So that's it for the moment. We're back with you in a few minutes for the start of the race. Oh, then so here we go then for the race itself, the race itself in a few moments' time. Should be a very exciting one indeed. Waiting now for the few seconds of the countdown before the race gets underway. As I say, should be very chaotic. Selway Blaze into this one with an 11-point lead in the Drivers' Championship over his teammate Selway Landlord. Blaze will start on the outside of the first row, and Landlord down there in fourth on the outside of the second row. But it's Che Oliver on pole, looking to take his, to my knowledge, his first victory of his RDL career. I'll have to confirm that moment. Wait now for the 10 seconds before the race itself, or the formation lap for the race, gets underway. It's the RDL Dutch Grand Prix of Season 13.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway right here in the Netherlands. The atmosphere, incredible, and the fans have come out in their tens of thousands for today's race.
So there are your starting tyres for this one. The majority of cars, oh, as I dropped my controller, that was not good. Majority of cars on the mediums, quite a few of them on the hards, and only one on the softs, and that would be Dan in the AlphaTauri. And as the cars now line on the grid, I have now fixed my controller. That'll happen there. Che Oliver though, lining up on the grid for the start of the race itself, and it should be a absolutely brilliant one here. As I've said, oh, there's been a bit of chaos there with the AI trying to line up the cars. I don't know why. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what the issue was. Regardless, Oliver now in his position, along with the rest of the pack who are joining up just behind. So we just wait now for the start of the lights. Here we go. It's the Dutch Grand Prix, round number 15 of the championship. Che Oliver in pole position. Lights out, foot to the floor, go, 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 go. Great getaway from Oliver on the run down to the first corner. He quickly covers off Blaze. That could allow C110P found on the outside. Blaze looking to go back underneath. The McLaren doesn't get a chance. Contact in turn one. And that's already a number of cars with damage. Curtis Shepard, Zach Sherman, Huggy Bear, all involved there in the back. Oliver leads. Blaze looking to go for it up the inside. Lionel holding on against C110P found the outside. Prolo and Alvar battling for 5th place. The Williams gets the edge on this occasion. But it's Che Oliver who leads out the first sector. Blaze right behind him there on the attack as they make their way through sector number 2 for the first time. It's all single file here throughout the order. Lalo's made a great start there. He's already gained a place over Fan. He's had the better jump off the line. Oliver had a terrific start and covered off Blaze before they even made it to the first corner. They're about halfway down on the run to turn 1. By the time he actually managed to make that move over, reaction was just so much better there by comparison to the championship leader. But Blaze this week can take pride in the fact knowing that he's made it further this week in the race than he did last week, which is always positive. Of course, a couple of cars with damage. The main one being Huggy Bear, who's got that broken front wing from the accident at that first corner. All 20 cars are still running. Oliver tries to break the toe as we begin lap number 2 here of the race. And now Blaze looking to the outside. He's trying to switch back to the inside now. Goes very late on the brakes and just about gets the job done. But Oliver's there on the switchback coming to the inside. And there's contact and around goes Oliver there. The pole sitter around at the exit of turn number 2. Blaze now inherits the lead. Landlord into second. Che Oliver now down in 15th. 5 cars on the back in the pit lane. Lucky Lambert, Touchby Pope, Huggy Bear, Curtis Shepard and Zach Sherman all in the pits for either front wing changes or tyres. So far made their changes. 4 of them onto mediums and Huggy Bear going on to hard tyres. They're going to try and go further into the race. But Blaze now shows the way. On my screen it looked like they were ghosting the Blaze and Oliver. However, I'm assuming that wasn't the case because Oliver spun out. I'm not sure that was driver error. Meanwhile, JB and Ethan, Mercedes and Red Bull going at it side by side down towards that right-hander who's later on the brakes. It looks like it's going to be JB for the time being. Going around the outside. Will get better traction off the corner and moves into P8. Great move there. And Fergus in the other McLaren while his teammates now further down the order in 14th. Fergus is up to 7th. So he's had a decent start on these first 2 laps. We've got a spinner in the back, and that is Paris T32, who's gone around and backed it into the wall. And there's a virtual safety car here on the racetrack for that spin, as Blaze sets the fastest lap. Well, Che Oliver now with a lot of work to do in this race, however, more or less on fresh tyres. Oh, he's had a bit of a skid there. But yeah, so he's one of those cars that started on hard. Gets underway. So Blaze now leads him from Landl in 2nd, C1 10P fan in 3rd, Pronal up to 4th, Alvar 5th, Websy 6th, Fergus 7th, JB 8th, Ethan 9th, and Courtney Golden. A brilliant start for him. He's already up into that 10th spot. So into the points paying places within the opening 2.5 laps this one. We're just waiting now for the green flag to come back out so we can get back to racing here. As Blaze leads them around and the DRS now deployed. That's been an opportunity for Landlord to try and gain a couple of tenths here to get back to racing. The green flag's now flying once again, but Blaze has already pulled out quite an advantage there over his championship rival and teammate. As further back, Che Oliver's comeback beginning. He's now making his way up into P13. He's made the pass on Dan in the AlphaTauri, who's reporting bad connection as it stands. His only driver just started on those soft tyres, and they're really not working in his favour right now. So Oliver's next target being the Haas of PJ Khaled. It looks like Atti's had a bit of a problem there, so there goes Khaled charging around that outside line. He's got the better run off of that final corner and down the main straight. There's still less than a corner between them. And Atti will have a good run and back to the inside into turn number 1. The Aston Martin will just about hold on to it for the time being, unless Khaled gets that better traction around the outside, which he does. There's contact between the two. A little bit of wheel bang in there between the pair of them. And Khaled sweeps back around the inside and holds off the Aston Martin around the outside for that last left-hander. He's got P11. He's almost 2 seconds behind the Ferrari of Courtney Goblin there in 10th place. He's currently chasing Ethan in the Red Bull. Further up front, Blaze still showing the way with about a second or so now over Landlord, who's just about outside that DRS range. I can't be too sure. He's just outside of it from what I'm seeing. C110P fans just in it, but he's got a mirror full of Prolol in the Alfa Romeo further back. So Blaze, constant at the moment with that now 1.3 second advantage. Fans trying to keep pace with Landlord, but he's dropping back to the Alfa Romeo behind. Che Oliver now, further back. We've got contact with Webbs. Webbs has gone around there. He's lost his, what looks to be he's lost part of his front wheel, his whole thing. No, he's just lost part of it after an unfortunate spin there. Prolol sets the fastest lap, 1:13.7, but unfortunate for Webbsy there. But that'll mean another place for Che Oliver. He can back to get another one here as he dives at the inside of Atti in turn 1. No chance of a switchback. The McLaren gets the job done. Yellow flag for the back, and that is Lucky Lambo who's slow. Webbsy into the pit lane. It looks like Lucky's recovered that one. He's keeping going. Front wing change for the Ferrari team, and a fresh set of hard tyres going onto the car as well. Lucky Lambert with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's unfortunate. We've already got Hope who's got a penalty as well. I can't quite remember what that's for. It may have been for a collision. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just trying to remember that. So I think now we'll say collision. Fan still keeping pace with Landlord. He's about 6 tenths back, and Prolol has dropped away to a distance as well. JB now right there behind Fergus in the McLaren. Of course, he had a decent battle with Ethan just a couple of laps ago. Now he's going to go on the attack, try and make a move on the next car in front. Yellow flag, and that's Landlord who's got around. Salve Landlord spins going into the final corner, and that curb may have just about caught him out on the exit of the right-hander. He's got a bit of space now to try and make a move. He has to be careful because there goes Dan up his inside out of that through the bank turn out the last corner. And all of this within six laps. There's a few laps since spinning out. Che Oliver now back up into the RDL Championship points. Coming back from what was 15th just 5 laps ago. He's more or less gained a place a lap, but from here on, it's looking like we have to rely on what he's got to make his way through. Touchy Pope around the same place, or slow in the same place. And it obviously didn't have the best of qualifying, and now things are looking just as bad for him in the race as well. He's got end plate down. So not sure if he's spun out. He's coming into the pit lane as it stands. Yellow flag, sector 1, and that is Paris T32 around again. For the second time in this race, Paris T32 loses the car. Further up front now, Blaze still showing the way with 2 of the main contenders in this one. Now further down the order, Landlord in 13th, Oliver in 10th. C110P fans his closest challenger. He's about 2 seconds behind with Prolol in 3rd place there. Alvar running in 4th, Fergus in 5th as it stands. It's JB Racer in 6th, Ethan 7th. We've got a battle there. Chailover's next move, looking to the inside of PJ Khaled. Side by side, these two. No one giving an inch. Khaled's brilliant with will-to-will combat. On this occasion, he's going to come out on top, but only for the moment. Here comes Chailover back around the outside. It's going to be very tight here, but I think McLaren might just end up with the edge. One of them we have to see going to this right hand, and it will be Khaled for the moment, because I doubt we'll be able to keep that one up lightly. Paris 232, 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. This race is not going well for him right now. There's still plenty of time for things to change. A safety car could bring him right back into the mix. Speaking of getting himself back into the mix, Chailover's on the DRS once again. It's been a constant train of just attacking since he spun out. He's been working out the order with a passion here, very, very quickly. He's just passing car after car. Really, no struggle for him at all. Off the last corner, DRS now deployed on the attack against Courtney Goblin in the Ferrari. He's got that little bit of toe that he might need. However, Courtney covers the inside into turn 1. Oliver just about finds a spot underneath. He's going to try and make it stick here. Off of turn number 1. Side by side between the pair, and Courtney Goblin is there, still to the point. But Oliver looking upstairs still, trying to find a way around the Ferrari. The same way as he did a lap ago on PJ Khaled, who might try and break into this fight should it carry on. He's very close behind him, about less than half a second separating the Ferrari from the Haas. But it looks like for now, it's going to be 2 for 2 in that first sector for Chailover, who's developing something of a knack for overtaking drivers in situations such as these. His next target, though, won't be so easy. He's got no DRS for the time being because he's there behind Ethan, who's about a second behind him as it stands. And it looks like he won't be getting DRS this time. I could open the door for Courtney Goblin to try and come back at him in some way. However, PJ Khaled will be his main concern. The Haas driver sitting right behind him as it stands. It's going to be a very, very tight affair between those guys in the lower points paying places as it stands. Further up front, 2.5 seconds now separating Blaze from Fan as they come off the last corner. Yellow flags. And that is Prolol's gone around. And that penultimate corner is really nobody's friend this early on into this Dutch Grand Prix. As a number of cars have all found sticky ends to at least their chances of running in the lead over the course of this Grand Prix so far. So Prolol now down to 13. He's the third driver to receive that treatment. PJ Khaled and Courtney Goblin still going at it side by side out turn number 1. The Haas and the Ferrari going at it. Once again, it's downstairs for Courtney Goblin, upstairs for PJ Khaled. The pair of them go side by side, and again, the driver on the outside gets better traction, and PJ Khaled slips up in 8th place. Yellow flag, and who is that? That's the other Alfa Romeo that looks a bit Lucky Lambert, who's gone around. You have to wait for the majority of the field to come back through before he can start backing up again. And there he goes, managed to recover the car in that short amount of space and time that he had. So Chailover now up into P7 now, having gotten the job done on both the cars and with this Prolol spin. And that could be 6th. He's really having a brilliant comeback mission here, is Chailover. He's already chasing the Red Bull of Ethan now. Let's have a look at the gap between him and the leader. It's 11 seconds as it stands. And those hard tyres should go a bit further into the race than the mediums will. So I doubt it'll be too long before we start seeing Blaze coming in for his first stop of the race. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him go on to mediums until the checkered flag. However, things could change if a safety car is thrown into the mix. We've seen how quickly and easily drivers can spin out. JB Race is having a brilliant race there. He's up in 5th place as it stands. However, he's got Ethan about 2 seconds back and a charging Chailover there. Another spinner further back, and that is Paris 232 is retiring from the race, and that brings out the safety car. Well, 10 laps in, the first safety car of the evening. Save Blaze shows the way, Fan in 2nd, Alvar up to 3rd, Fergus 4th. Things are looking good for the McLarens right now. This is coming at the right sort of time for Dan. However, I'm sure he would have, at least lap-wise, I'm sure he would have liked to. I'm sure he would have liked to have seen this come out a few seconds ago, when he was before he actually got to the pit lane. Prolol and Zach Sherman taking advantage here. They're coming into the pits now. Fresh set of hards on the Alfa Romeo, and I'm assuming fresh set of softs on the Aston Martin. So Zach Sherman looking to go for a short distance into the race, and perhaps run mediums to the end. So now he's done both of his tyre compounds that he needs to do. But yeah, so things not looking good for a number of drivers in the order here. Of course, this will bring a halt to Che Oliver's charge. He's gone from 15th to 7th there, despite being spun out so early on. And now the medium tyre runners coming into the pits for looks of it. Alvar stays out, so he's going to go a bit longer into the race. And Che Oliver into the pits though, so those hard tyres, the strategy hasn't really worked out for him as much as he would have hoped it would. And McLaren making a very nice double stack. Oh, almost work. Pope drove through penalty for speeding under the safety car. His race gets worse and worse. He'll be right there at the back of the pack when we get back to racing on, I'm going to assume, around lap number 13 or 14, depending on how quick it takes everyone to join, how long it takes everyone to join back up behind the safety car so we can get back to racing again. Down there in 8th place now. Surprisingly, he chose not to pit on that last run. So unsure as to why at this stage. Those soft tyres can't go much further into the race. Zach Sherman on fresh ones now. So I'm thinking he'll be looking to run mediums or hards to the end of the race after pitting. Another safety car in about 10 laps time would definitely increase his chances of points in this race. He currently runs in 15th. He hasn't had a brilliant run to this race so far since the run at turn 1 on the opening lap. So 19 cars now still in the running order. Alvar now sits ahead of them. Ethan in 2nd, PJ Khaled 3rd. Those 3 all chose to stay out under their safety car on their hard tyres. So I have to see what sort of strategy they're looking to run here, because they'll have to make stops under green if this is the case. Let's begin at lap number 12 of this race. I think we'll begin to get going again on lap number 13 of this Grand Prix. We'll be able to see if things change. Save Landlord into the pit lane. Sorry, that's Dan into the pit, sorry. Dan now taking his chances into the pit lane. Fresh set of mediums going on the car. He's not going to lose out too much. He's going to fall down to P12, maybe P13. And Zach Sherman also into the pit lane. He's done 1 extra lap on, or 2 extra laps on soft tyres here. So now he's going to have fresher tyres than everyone else. So the Aston Martin's going to smack a rose here as he makes his way out of the pit lane. With hard tyres, which I reckon if he manages them well, could, and potentially another safety car, potentially could definitely go another 24 laps if he really manages them well. So it's all still to play for at this stage. Alvar, as I say, in the lead. I have to see how those 3 hard tyre runners choose to handle this restart. I think we'll be getting going on lap number 14 now, thanks to those extra pit stops, because I don't think that the back 4 will catch them in time. One thing I will say to everyone, don't give up hope just yet, because there's still plenty of racing left to do. We've seen how Oliver's been fighting his way through the order with the heart of a lion that the Dutchmans admire so much in Max Verstappen. So this race isn't over for anybody yet, apart from Paris 232, who still sits down there out of the race, unfortunately. First retiree of this Dutch Grand Prix. Of course, we were lucky to not lose a good number of cars earlier on with that opening lap crash. Or I say crash, more of a collision. So as the last cars make their way through towards the back of the order, Zach Sherman, I think, has had he's going remarkably slow for some reason. It looks like Dan's going to be retiring from the race, which is what I'm being told. Blaze down there in 4th. He's currently the highest running of those drivers who have made their first pit stops of this race. He's had a great run so far, despite that little altercation with Oliver on the start of lap 2. Oliver's now on those medium tyres, so I dare say the Alfa Romeo, the Alpine could be dealing with the McLaren in not too much time. There's still all to play for a lot of these drivers. So I wouldn't rule anything out just yet. Chaos can still ensue here at Zandvoort, and because it's league racing, potentially there's a good chance that it does. So right, safety car in this lap. Here we go. How will Alvar handle this race start? Where will he choose to go? I'm thinking he'll choose to go some point either before or in the last corner, because there's no real good place to go. He could go on this straight here. I thought he had for a moment, but he's keeping everyone right there. Not as bunched up as perhaps he might have liked. And he's going now. And he's left Ethan for dead. Or not quite for dead. There's about half a second between them. Ethan's gone away quite well himself. So it's all even Steven here. He's come back across the line to get this one back underway on lap number 14. We've already got a car pulling off into the pit. Sorry, not pulling into the pit. And that was looks like one of the Williams. That's Touch with Hope pulling to the left-hand side of the track. Sorry, the right-hand side. Clean restart for everyone else further back. Oh, there might have been a bit of contact further back. So that's just Pope, who's getting himself to the back of the pack now. Yellow flag. Who was that for? I didn't quite see it. Not quite sure what happened there. Alvar, though, leads for half a second over Ethan. PJ Callagher in third. Salway Blaze is behind him in fourth. Che Oliver gets around. JB Racer up into 7th place now. Those medium tyres working a treat so far on this opening lap after the restart. Fergus' next target in the McLaren, his own teammate now. What will he do? Will he play the team game? Yellow flag for the back, and that's Hoggy Bear who's spun out. And so he's got front wing damage as well. Let's wait for the next shot to confirm that. Yes, he has. End plate gone on the Haas car. He's got to a pit to repair that. Oh, excuse me. Oliver now right behind his teammate off the last corner. Will he try and do anything? He's going to go for a move into turn 1. Alvar now sets the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 14.5 on 14 lap hold hard. So those things definitely still going. He's showing his stuff for the time being. And now Sawyer Blaze, the championship leader, gets around PJ Keller for the first of those 3 cars. He's got to pass in order to retake the top spot. Huggy Bear into the pits now. Yellow flag, and that's Courtney Goblin out of the race. Crashing the car there, and that's the safety car back out for the second time today on lap number 15. Well, that didn't last very long. Not sure what happened. Yeah, Courtney Goblin out of the race. He may have had a coming together with somebody, and that's led to him spinning out and hitting the car on the barrier at the side of the track. Could this be a good situation for Alvar? He's already pulled out about 3 seconds or so on the rest of the pack. I think he's to pull out part of that under Delta under the safety car. But will we see him pit potentially? It remains to be seen. Will we see any of those top three, or those 3 who are yet to see make their first stops come into the pits? Alvar slowing. It doesn't look like any of them are going to come in at this point. But yeah, so they'll now join up behind the back of the safety car, so we can get back to racing as soon as possible. Unless the people pit, we shouldn't. No one's pitting at the moment, so we shouldn't see anyone taking too long to rejoin behind the safety car. We'll be able to get back to racing as soon as we possibly can. So there shouldn't be a very long safety car period at all. Everyone will probably be able to get back to racing potentially on lap 17 or 18. Depends how long it takes for a Haas to join up from the back. I'm thinking it'll be lap 18, the restart. It's been a very entertaining race so far. Looking forward to seeing how it draws to a close as we near the halfway stage. Alvar then still leading, Eden still in second. Just waiting now for Huggy Bear to come back through so we can get underway once again. Let's have a look at in terms of penalties. Only penalty right now being applied, a drive through for Pope, which he can't serve under the safety car. In terms of position change, the driver who's gained the most so far being Ethan. He started in 10th, he is now up to 2nd position. And the driver who's lost out the most actually got a tyre. Oh, sorry, no, we don't. Sorry, that's Lucky Lambo who's lost 6 places. It's been an unfortunate race for him so far. He's looking to try and get himself back further up the order, but he is around a lap behind or so that could be a tough ask. Huggy Bear now joining up at the back of the pack as the Bears go racing this lap. Again, let's see how Alvar handles this restart. Now, last time it was closer than he might have liked. He got away well. However, Ethan predicted where he was going to go and went right with him. So we're hoping this time affairs will be different. We'll try and establish a bit more of a lead before when we get back to racing here. Oh, Alvar spun out. What happened there? What's he done? Well, all of a sudden, this race has fallen apart for the race leader, who now finds himself down in 16th place. What? What on earth happened there? And a safety car in this lap. So now Ethan inherits the lead. And Alvar down in 16th. Well, who would have seen that coming out of the safety car? Ethan will lead them over Blaze, over PJ Khaled. That will move up Che Oliver another position up to 5th. His comeback drive is nearing completion. He's got a genuine chance here of still recovering something from this race. Wait for Ethan to go now to get us back underway for this restart. But Blaze has gone right with him here. We're back underway, but Blaze jogs back a little bit. And there comes Fergus fighting over around the outside. He's up to 4th already. Great start from the McLaren. Now here comes T1 Tim P fan up his inside. And it's contact. And there goes Fergus at the track. Che Oliver takes full advantage. Touch Hope disqualified from this session for ignoring a drafting penalty. Oliver up to 4th now. Yellow flags. And who is that for? That's for one of the Mercedes by the looks of it. Webbsy out of the race. It's been a huge coming together. Both Ferraris now out of the running. Oh, and there goes Prolol as well, who spun out. Number of cars damaged, but no safety car, surprisingly. But what on earth happened there? Alvar out of the pits now to repair that damage. Ethan holding on to the lead. Che Oliver trying to go around the outside of PJ Khaled here. The second time these guys dueling on the racetrack. And Oliver gets the edge and jumps up in front of the Haas, and now is right there behind the net race leader, Salve Blaze, looking to try and take the 2nd place. No DRS yet. Lap number 19 now. Blaze at the inside, taking the lead. Yellow flag, and that's Webbsy around. Webbsy out. Wait, no, Webbsy. Oh, no, that's Lucky Lambert out. Lucky Lambert out of the race. Prolol, an unfortunate 5-second penalty, and the safety car deployed for the 3rd time. What is going on in this Dutch Grand Prix? Che Oliver is in 3rd position. This comeback is not over in the slightest. I hate to be biased, but I do love a good comeback story. I'm trying my best to be impartial. But it would be a brilliant story. Very Sergio Perez-esque for him to come back after that spin and win this one. Ethan is still in 2nd place. He's held on brilliantly on that restart. Alvar coming in for a fresh set of medium tyres. And Prolol having that penalty. Front wing change to be made. And her serving the penalty first. And soft tyres going on the car. A front wing. Away he goes. So Salve Blaze then, for the first time in about 10 laps or so, leads this race. When will Ethan come into the pits? He's been on those tyres for 18 laps now, as has PJ Khaled. By the time they get to racing again, they'll have been on those for about 21, 22. If my math serves me correctly. So then 15 cars still in the running to try and win this race. Lucky Lambert now out. Websy also out. Very unfortunate for both cars, as well as Courtney Goblin and Paris and Pope, who was disqualified for ignoring the drive-through penalties given earlier on. Of course, dissatisfaction with this year's game is a regular topic in league racing because for Codemasters it hasn't really been up to standard this year. In terms of league racing, I think a lot of races get the idea it wasn't that great last year either. Of course, in my opinion, I can't speak too much as I mainly commentate. I don't really race. I've been lucky not to deal with anything on my end. But these unfortunate penalties, for instance, that weren't really the fault of these players, shouldn't really be happening, at least in my eyes. So hopefully things will improve as the game cycle continues. Lap number 21 now. Atty into the pit lane in the Aston Martin. Fresh set of softs going on that car. I've seen quite a few drivers going to soft tyres now. And away he goes. Savvy Blaze then still showing the way. Ethan in second. And Che Oliver on those medium tyres in third. But for how long? Because he'll have to pit at some point. I do think he'll probably pit around the same sort of time we see the two hard tyre runners from earlier on coming into the pits. We're just waiting now for the AOK and for the cars in the back to try and catch up to the longest line. Yeah, a lot of drivers really getting the elbows out so far in tonight's race. Of course, it's happening from when we got to turn 1. Long way to go. Still 15 laps, which might not sound like much, but in F1 terms, it is a lifetime. And things could definitely change. We saw it a number of times in yesterday's United States Grand Prix how a safety car quickly put people under pressure. Of course, led Max Verstappen in a late chase to try and catch Lewis Hamilton, which he did in the closing laps of the race. Cars now at the back of the pack, ready to go for this restart. So as I say, 15 cars still in the running this one. We've lost Websy, Lucky Lambert, Courtney Goblin, Paris T32 and Tasby Pope under the opening number of laps so far. 15 to go. Blaze is the one in control, as he has been throughout the majority of this race so far. Waiting now when they make their way back round. That'll be when the safety car lights go out. Be able to go back to racing. And hopefully we'll be able to keep it clean. The aggression perhaps required to some extent in these restarts. I'll tell you one driver will be looking to try and make a move. Che Oliver, as I keep mentioning, on that comeback drive, he's almost making it happen. And all he's got to do is make up 2 more places. However, still, I doubt those mediums will go to the end, so I reckon he'll probably need another safety car to put on bolt on a fresh set of softs and charge for the finish. And I think Blaze will definitely mostly want to see another stop as well, unless he can take those tyres another 14, 15 laps. In terms of restarts, he's got away brilliantly there. Both Ethan and Blaze leaving Oliver for dead there in third. The Alpine gets away remarkably and leads the field back out the last corner and towards the line. For lap 23 to get underway, but Ethan is right there on the chase, looking to try and get around him as soon as he can. It's close to about 5 or 6 tenths there down that main straight from where he was at the last corner. Curtis getting around Dan. Zach Shem looking to try and join the party as well. Oh wow, very tight there between the two. Oh, someone's front way. That's a bit of Zach Sherman's end plate has come off. Oh, he's off the car there. The two Aston Martins at the back of the running order just like that. And 15th is not the place you want to be in for anyone, because we've seen quite a few drivers struggling in that 15th spot. Speaking of struggling, it looks like Ferguson's got quite a task dealing with JB and Survey Landlord behind him. Oh, someone's hit one of the braking boards there, and that would be an inconvenience to everyone. So I'm not quite sure who's done that, but I doubt if anyone saw it, they'd be too pleased. Blaze pulling out lead about a second now. Che Oliver right on the back bumper of the Red Bull of Ethan Ed as they make their way through the last 2 corners on the lap. 13 laps to go when they cross the line. Keep an eye on Ferguson. He struggles to defend, or not struggles, but just attempts to defend against these 2 cars for the back. I think Lando will try and go at JB first. Blaze sets the fastest lap further up front. Oliver now on the inside. He goes late enough on the brakes and get the job done. Yes, he does. Yellow flag further back, and that is Landlord is out of the race. That's a big crash on the main straight. Alvaro involved. And for the 4th time today, the safety car is out. And we're down to just 13 cars. Oliver is now in 2nd place. Blaze leads them once again. Ethan down to 3rd. PJ Kelly 4th. When will these two come into the pit lane? But what is going on in this Grand Prix right now? And that means that regardless, Blaze will expand his championship lead by a good number of points after a 2nd straight retirement from Salve Landlord. The reigning champions title bid may or may not be going down the plug hole as it stands. However, Blaze does need to hold on and still take some points from this one. And Zandvoort stirring up chaos as it so often does, in its typical Zandvoort way. Now, will we see anyone pit this time? Ethan and PJ at last calling it quits and coming in for stops. They're first to the race. With mediums for the Red Bull. I'm thinking mediums for the Haas as well. Yes, it will. Couple of cars further back into the pits. Dan and Curtis. Soft tyres on the Mercedes. Mediums on the AlphaTauri. Sorry, hards on the AlphaTauri. He's showing a penalty first. All 4 cars are back on the racetrack. It shouldn't be too long before we get back to racing. I'm thinking lap 27. And this is our 4th safety car of the race. 5th if you count the virtual safety car from the early goings. But very chaotic so far. We've still got 11 laps to go. So Blaze has led the majority of laps here and he still continues to lead the way. But Che Oliver has been through the trenches and back in order to get back up into 2nd place. If he can take the win now, throughout this entire chaotic race, I wouldn't think that would be topped for quite a while. It's been an absolutely brilliant evening of racing. Of course, the aggression is something to be talked about. Zach Sherman into the pits now. He's been on those softs long enough. But yeah, 7 cars out of the race now. And a quote here from Touch of Hope which sums it up perhaps perfectly. Typical Netherlands in a game which is just a mess right now, and I couldn't agree more with him in this case. Dutch Grand Prix always consistently stirring up chaos, and in a game where things are really struggling, this is no different. if anything, I see this race potentially a plea to Codemasters or EA to simply just do something about this. Because league racing, I doubt, can really survive as well as it has been in previous years under these conditions. Zach Sherman may catch up in time to be able to get back on the way. I think he will, to be honest. So I think we'll probably get the message this time saying to go. There we go, safety car in this lap. How will... Or the question is really how Blaze handle the restart. We know he'll try and go as early as he can, try and throw someone off. But when will Oliver be expecting him to go? He hasn't seen him under a race safety car restart throughout today. He's going for a run of a Verstappen approach here. It's practically double file. And keep an eye on Fergus there in fourth. He's had a relatively quiet race. He's run inside the points the majority of it here. And when does Blaze go? He's trying to back up Oliver as much as he can into the order. But he's gotten away, but not by much. Oliver right there with him, using that battery on the restart. Blaze is backed up a little bit by the looks of things. Back over the line. Oliver could go for a move here if he goes to the outside. So look at it. Go late on the brakes. Try and make it happen. Will there be contact? No contact. Yes, there is, of both cars. And Blaze around. And Oliver down to fourth. C1 Tim P fan takes the lead. No damage for Oliver by the looks of things. But Sally Blaze now down in 13th. So he's got away lightly for damage as well, at least aesthetically. But unbelievably, the two drivers, one of them has led the entire way so far for the most part. A driver has been fighting back to put himself up from the depths of being outside the points after that incident early on. Now down in fourth, and the leader down in 13th. And C110P fan, who's been running a distant second or third to whoever's been leading the entire day, now sits in the lead in his contact. So Blaze gone around again. Well, I think he's gone around. He's gone wide, and Curtis now without an end plate. So not good for that Mercedes, but JB spectacularly up on the podium. He's doing a brilliant job right now, and I'm hoping that for this one we'll be able to hold station to the end and just get a real race. Prolol on those soft tyres. He's also on a comeback. Of course, he was running in higher up in the order earlier on. Blaze and Curtis going at it off the last corner. Curtis into the pits. Blaze carries on. Looks like he might try and go to the end of those tyres. They'll in about 24 laps or so by the time they get to an end of this one. JB chasing Fergus. Looking to the outside here. Fans pulled away to 2 seconds now. He is gone off into the distance. Atty now up into 6th. Passing Ethan around the outside. That'll now be the inside for the next turn. Bit of contact. Ethan up on the grass, but holds on to the car. PJ Keller might see fit to try and go for a move into the next couple of corners. Soft tyres on the Curtis Shepherd machine. He'll be back out onto the racetrack in just a moment. And Blaze now 7 seconds off the pace in 12th. Oliver now has... Oh, there goes JB going wide. Rejoins. Just alongside Oliver, who's going to try and outbrake the Mercedes into the corner. And there's contact. And around goes Oliver again. There's contact. There's damage. And there's contact for the back. That's Zach Sherman. And to my knowledge, is there an end plate still on that McLaren? No, there isn't. He's going to stay out here trying to make something happen. I'll tell you, it'd be a mighty ask from Team Smart just finish on the podium now without that end plate. This next lap could be a real struggle for him. He can manage it, then he could have a good chance. He's been fighting through so much adversity today in this Grand Prix. Atty into the pits now. Fresh set of softs on his car. C110P fan now 3 seconds off in the distance. He's been waiting for his time to lead, and it is now. C110P fan, I've always said his best finishes or his best wins have been achieved in chaos, and that is what we are seeing today. We've seen a lot of chaos, 7 cars out of the running. He just keeps himself cool, calm and collected, and is on course, just 7 laps away from a victory that could really close him up to the championship leaders now, with Blaze currently out of the points and Lando out of the race. Now Blaze could potentially still get a couple more points in this one. However, I doubt it with those hard tyres really reaching their peak. Oliver dropping back, that end plate situation not helping matters for McLaren right now. I think he might try and stay on the track. He's He's really there on the outside. PJ Kalev right behind him. He's had DRS as well for that last corner. Oliver's going to try and finish this one. I think he would have pitted by now if there was any more struggle. He's going to stay out. He's diving to the inside. Zach Sherman sets the fastest lap. Oliver to the inside of Ethan. Not quite making it work. Prolo now right in the back of JB on those soft tyres, which are really, really about to fall off the cliff, I reckon. Fan, Fergus, race JB. So all on hard tyres. They've been going for almost 20 laps here. At what point do they start to drop off? Shea Oliver still struggling. PJ now around his outside to make something happen. No DRS. Switch back for PJ Cal. That's a very nice move, despite the fact that Oliver has damage. But a very nice move nonetheless. Battery deployed on the McLaren machine. He's going to dive to the inside here. Oh, and there's contact again. Around goes the McLaren up into traffic. And the race more or less over now, if it wasn't already, for Shea Oliver. Down the order, outside of the points in P11, and a comeback that looked to be so nearly on the cards, now slipping away from him in the most unfortunate of manners. I can't imagine how disappointing it must be. He's just going to stay out here, try and finish the race. If something goes wrong, he'll be there. Curtis Shepherd all by himself in 13th, Atty by himself in 12th, and now Oliver by himself in 11th as Blaze up into 10th. Now joining up with the back of the pack. 177 points with the top point studs for Blaze if he finishes the race like this. Whereas the points total will be around 153 for C110P fan. So really catapulting himself closer to those Alpines in a title fight that could become a three-way one if things continue to swing that way. JB right behind Fergus looking for second. Prolo, those softs are dropping off, and Ethan could try and snatch fourth in a lap or two. DRS deployed. There goes JB to the inside up ahead. He's going to get the job done on Fergus. Will even reach turn one. However, he's going to go a little bit deeper there, so that could allow Fergus in the inside. No chance. JB now taking over second place, but so nothing to stop C110P fan, who sits 4.5 laps away from victory here. Child a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So you might try and swipe fastest lap towards the end. Atty's now setting it on minute 13.1. C110P fan, I'd say 4.6 seconds clear now. JB 6 tenths in front of Fergus, who's got Prolol just 7 tenths behind him. Ethan, we're looking to go on the attack here again to Alfa Romeo on weak soft tyres this stage. Those things are screaming out, just wanting this race to be over. But the Alfa Romeo truck's going to try and tough it out and score some points. 20 to his name so far. There'll be another 12 if he finishes the job. That'll bring him tied with Iwardy in the Williams, and a point clear of Alvar. It will be scored as 14th in this one. Ethan to the inside, trying to make something happen. Dan passing Huggy Bear, who's managed to work his way up into the points. Lap 33 now. Yellow flag, sector 1, and that is Huggy Bear has gone around. And Atty goes wide behind them. Sets Blaze up into 9th. That's another point. 178 will now be his total. And he'll be retaining and extending the lead in the Drivers' Championship over his teammate. Again, unfortunate circumstances for Salve Landau, being he retires for the second week in a row. Almost 5 seconds now, the advantage between these two leaders. Ethan still waiting there behind Prolol. If anything, losing time behind the Alfa Romeo. Look how much he's practically pushing him through that corner. It's not much further away. He's not too far of a podium finish at this point. those medium tyres will definitely, without doubt, be no problem with the finish. Yellow flag. That's Curtis Shepherd who's gone around in the Mercedes. So wait for Chayalova to go sliding through. And now he recovers the car, gets himself back going again. Ethan now passing Prolol. All around goes the Alfa Romeo. And that might be the end of his chances of any higher points in his contact. And as he's hit, Simon Blaze has hit him. And there's no front. There's no front wing on that Alpine. So then, could the race now be over for the championship leader, who was looking to gain something, and now he'll look at gaining nothing? I doubt he can go the rest of the way on the front wing like that. Chayalova now setting the fastest lap of the race. That'll be an extra point. Should he get himself back into the top 10? Or unless someone else in the top 10 swipes it back. JB now hauling himself out of the DRS range of Fergus. And Ethan is now looking to challenge for a place on the podium. Here he comes. Ethan on the DRS. Against old hard tyres. 2 laps to go. He looks to the outside. Had to go for a switch. It's been forced a long way around by Fergus. But gets the power down. The move done. Move Ethan onto the podium. And there goes Fergus losing control. Just about holding on to the car. Recovering it. No damage done. And Blaze is still trying to finish the race on that front wing. Prolol into the pits. Fresh set of soft tyres on that car. Here comes Chayalova looking to potentially try and set fastest up again. Not a bit of it. Prolol out of the pits. Here comes Fan though. When he gets to the line, he'll be a lap away from a victory that's really taken every driver through the trenches here. PJ Caleb running in 4th. Here we go, final lap of the motor race. Now, for C110P fan, it's been an absolutely crazy one here this evening, as it always is in the Netherlands. Yellow flag, and that is Chayalova around. And again, you have to feel for the McLaren driver who started on pole, had an instant on lap 2 with the championship leader, fell through the field, worked his way back through the order, only to be spun out while running in 2nd place. Very unfortunate. It's allowed, with the instant, he fought with Blaze to try and take the lead. Both cars spun. C110P fans inherited the lead, and he's not looked back. He's built up a 6-second advantage over JB in 2nd place. He'll be over the moon with a 2nd place finish. And in terms of 3rd, I don't think the battle's finished quite yet, because here comes PJ Caleb, who might try and make a move here on the Red Bull down for the last time. The DRS not helping him. No DRS required right now for C110P fan, who's a corner away from victory through the banked right-hander that's claimed so many drivers throughout this Grand Prix, but not the AlphaTauri driver. C110P fan wins here at Zandvoort. JB Racer comes home for 2nd place. To my knowledge, it's the first time I've ever seen him finish on the podium, and Ethan will narrowly hold on to take P3. PJ Caleb 4th, Zach Sherman 5th. Dan in the end comes home in 6th after all that. Fergus 7th. Blaze, the championship leader, narrowly coming home in front. Another driver coming home narrowly in front of a Haas. Hoggy Bear 9th, and Ati in the end, after all the misery spent further back in the order, will come home to take the final points-paying position in 10th place. Prolol and Chayalova, gut-wrenching days for them, which on races which could have finished so much better compared to how they started. Oliver's comeback in the end leaves him in 12th place. So it breaks the front wing on the car for good measure. And Curtis for the line in 13th. So there you have it then. C110P fan is your winner. Brilliant race all around. So celebrations begin then. was a titanic race fought between a number of brilliant drivers there. It's just another typical league race for the Netherlands. And this one belonged to C110P Fan, who will close a good number of points in the Drivers' Championship. Could this turn into a 3-horse race in the final 7 rounds of the season? We'll have to wait and see. And again, Che Oliver still waiting to cross that 100-point mark. Fighting to become best of the rest in 4th place in this first RDL season of competition. So here's your final results then. It's C110P Fan who wins the race, JB 2nd, Ethan 3rd, PJ Keller 4th, Zach Sherman in 5th in the end, Dan 6th, Fergus 7th, Blaze in 8th in the end. Championship leader extends his advantage, Huggy Bear 9th, and Ati takes the final point in 10th. It's Prolol 11th, Che Oliver 12th, Curtis in 13th, and the retirees, Alvar, Landlord, Websy, Lucky, Cottony, Paris, and Pope. So there is your final standings from tonight's race. It's been a very entertaining one to say the very least, depending on what perspective you're from, or what perspective you're looking at it from. If you've enjoyed this perspective, make sure to like, share and subscribe for more RDL action as we approach the final 7 rounds of the season. Next week's race being held at the iconic Monza. It's the Italian Grand Prix next Monday, same place, same time. So until next time everybody, hope you've enjoyed this stream and I shall see you in the next race. Goodbye.